FunSupermart.com.
What is your outlook for Malaysian equities for second half of 2012? What are the impact of the eurozone debt crisis, US and China slowdown on Malaysia?
I think for the second half of 2012, okay, the market probably will just continue, I would say, grind its way up a bit in line with their earnings growth, right? So the issue here is that I think year to date, the market may have run a little faster than what the earnings growth is indicating. So if we go according to our forecast, right, which we see the KLCI somewhere in the region of 1670 by the end of this year, from the current level of about 1640, probably we are just talking about another 2, maybe 3% at best already. Yeah? So in that sense, in terms of valuation, it's slightly ahead. But earnings is still going to grow 10%, about 10 to 12% this year, and next year about 10%, right? And concerning these external headwinds that you mentioned, the eurozone crisis, the slowdown in US, China, and a lot of emerging countries, actually, I think for now, most of these have already been factored into all the countries' GDP forecasts already. The outstanding issue now is that whether it will deteriorate further or not, which is still an open question right now at this moment.
What are the key drivers? The
drivers of our market actually is just, I would say there is a lot to do with earnings growth, although there are a lot of external headwinds. Corporate Malaysia are still reporting very decent profit growth, right? And the other thing helping the most financial markets, especially equity financial markets, actually is the low interest rate environment, and also the amount of liquidity that's in the system because of all the stimulus packages that has been thrown at the economy to sustain it. Yeah.
What about the downside risk?
Okay, at this moment we see if the downside risk probably will be coming from the external front. What's happening mainly, I think at this moment it will be on the euro side, right? And the fact that eurozone probably will be in recession this year and possibly next year, I think has been more or less factored into the market forecast. The surprise on the downside would be if eurozone actually deteriorate further than this and then dragging the other major economy like US, which already currently feeling the impact of it, and also China down with it. Yeah. So if that happens, the event happens, then obviously Malaysia being an open trading nation will also be affected. Yeah.
Within Malaysia equities, which sectors do you favor now?
Given our cautious outlook on the global macroeconomic front, okay, we will favor sectors which are considered more defensive. So currently the top 3 sectors that we favor are the REITs, the consumer sector, and the gaming sector. Okay. Now, just very briefly, why we like the REITs sector. Because REITs basically, the structure is such that they need to pay out 90% of the dividends. Okay? And the income stream from rentals are very stable and very reliable, and then they pay out 90%. And currently, although it has done very well, it's still yielding on average about 5.5% to 6.5%, which we find attractive at this moment for this particular period in time. Now, on the second sector that we like, it will be on the consumer side. Okay? Now, if you look at just this year alone, you look at the different sectors, even though our economy has slowed a little bit, the consumer spending seems to be holding up, still quite resilient, right? And we expect this resiliency to actually continue. So from that angle, you would expect that the top line, the sales or the revenue line to continue growing for these companies. And the margin so far has been stable, and there is an expectation that the margin could widen slightly, given that a lot of commodity prices has eased off a little bit. So that will actually translate into a very healthy bottom line. And most of these consumer companies, especially on the consumer staples and fast-moving consumer goods, they are very established and they tend to generate a very high free cash flow, which they also distribute as dividends. Yeah. Now, the third sector that we like is gaming, but more specifically on number forecasting. Yeah. Now, that also, again, this business also, I think, we believe is very resilient. I think it's quite addictive and people will just continue participating in this number forecasting game, at good times or bad times. Some people even say at bad times they do even more, they gamble even more. But what the interesting about all this number forecasting basically is that they generate very healthy cash flows which are being paid out.
Which sectors do you feel bearish about?
Along the same theme, that our outlook on the economy is going to be could weaken a bit further, right? The sector that we will be bearish on will be on the transportation, mostly on the shipping side. The other sectors that we are also bearish on is the semiconductor sector. The reason why we are not positive on these two sectors is it's common sense actually, in the sense that if you think that the global economy is going to slow down, right, trade will slow down, therefore demand for transportation services will also slow down. Now on the shipping side in particular, not only are they facing a slowing or weak and could possibly slow down further, they are also facing a situation whereby they have excess capacity. So with these two factors in play, we don't expect the transportation shipping sector to do well. Okay? The other sector is the semiconductor sector. Again here, given a very negative outlook in terms of companies, in terms of their capex spending and all that, it's unlikely to pick up anytime soon. And if you look at most of the semiconductor or electronic company in Malaysia, they are currently only operating around slightly over 60% capacity, and is unlikely to improve anytime soon.